Welcome to the Phygital Marketing Podcast, a podcast from Sotto, where we explore how digital and physical experiences are blending in modern marketing. I'm your host, Lindsey Buxman, and I'll be sitting down with my favorite marketing leaders to chat about what they think is working, what's not, how real-world moments should connect to digital strategy, and everything in between. Okay, let's get Phygital.
Hello. Today I'm here at SHEIN for the Phygital Marketing Podcast with Lisa Zlotnick.
Hi.
Very excited to have you on the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for joining. To start, could you share a little bit about your background and what you're doing here at SHEIN?
Absolutely. So I have been in the communications and integrated marketing space for over 20 years. I know. Started off my career in New York City. And worked my way through different agencies in the integrated marketing space, moved over to Los Angeles about 11 years ago to be at Nintendo's longstanding PR agency, Golan, where I led an integrated marketing team, everything from public relations to communications to we did analyst relations, influencer, social, you name it, we did it. And then about 2.5 years ago, I came over to SHEIN. And it's been really exciting to be at this company at this moment. We're at a very transformative place. And what I quickly realized when I came into the company is that the narrative for the brand has been written for us, not by us. So I quickly realized that early media narratives shaped the perception of this brand. And really, the work that my team has been doing from a communications perspective has been to ensure that people understand who we are on the inside and what we stand for and how our business proposition is fundamentally different in the space. So if I can, I'll just bend your ear for 2 seconds. The traditional retail landscape, it works like this, right? They're predicting trends 6 to 8 months in advance. They're filling store shelves and racks with tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of items in the hopes that in 6 to 8 months from now, customers are going to want to go into those stores and buy those items. And then how we operate is fundamentally different. So on the site at any given time, we can have between 100 to 200 SKUs of product. If we see that customer demand is there, we make more, we scale up. If we see that it's not, we sell out of that particular item and we move on. And so what it is, it's an agile model that minimizes overproduction. It allows us to respond to real-time demand and really move at the pace of culture. And that, I think, is something that has been misunderstood about SHEIN for a long time.
It is so exciting to hear you start to talk about the narrative.
Yeah.
And just help form that narrative and because it's such an efficient approach and make sure that clothes that are made are worn.
It is. And I think that our marketing communications teams here in the States we're relatively new. In 2019, we had maybe 15 employees here at LA headquarters. Now we have hundreds and we have offices all over the United States now. So it's been a lot of fun for us to build, to go from 0 to 60 in a very short amount of time. We always say we're a late stage startup because we truly operate that way. And that's how we feel on the inside. We're like building the plane as we fly it. But that's kind of what we're all doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also at a startup.
So you
feel those vibes. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'm really excited to get your thoughts on building a digital and native brand and using that brand to then create connection in real life and community in real life. So I'm very excited to chat through that today.
Great.
Let's start with many brands have large audiences, especially SHEIN, but not all of them have real community. How do you think about that differently? And how do you approach developing a brand community?
I think community is so very important to the work that brand marketers are doing today. And I think it stems from truly understanding and listening to your customer base. And where I think a lot of brands trip up is not understanding who their customer is. So we take a lot of effort to really get to know her, get to know not only what she is shopping for, but the why behind the purchase. that emotional connection to the product, we think is super important to understand. Because once you understand that, then I think you can help build community around it. So what we try to do is we try to listen to our customer as much as possible. And how we do that is we issue surveys to our customer base. So our app is incredibly active. And in any given weekend, we can issue a survey and we can get between 20 to 30,000 respondents in one weekend. So it helps us to understand that why. Why do you want to make that certain purchase? And we've understood that these days, our customer base, they're very discerning. They're very deliberate with their purchases. They want to make sure that what they buy will last beyond the moment. They want to make sure that it fits them correctly. And it's interesting because they're looking to real people, not necessarily to brands for that. So a lot of the content you see that we do is kind of shifting more from the polished campaigns to UGC, to more, how can I see this product fitting on somebody else that maybe has my same body shape? So a lot of that work is what we're doing.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Why do you think these survey responses are so high, and how do you maintain that engagement?
I think the engagement is so important because they feel we're listening to them.
That's so key.
They feel we're understanding where they're coming from. And we want to make sure that we understand our customer base. Like even, for example, this summer, we wanted to understand how our SHEIN customer was traveling for summer vacation because we just launched our Vacay Trends collection for the summer. And we learned that a lot of our customer base is staying domestic this summer. Very few are actually traveling internationally, and they're taking road trips. They're going to theme parks. They're traveling with their families. So really understanding how they are traveling and how they are spending their summer vacations. And they're not just doing one big vacation. They're doing 2 vacations, maybe 3 vacations, smaller. So understanding that that's what they're doing this summer is helping us to then say, how are we going to come to the table with our brand campaign for Vacation Trends, understanding how they are traveling for summer. So again, it's like building community, but it's listening to your customer and really understanding where they are, what they're doing, and then how you can best market with them.
Yes, market with them.
With them.
Letting them know you're listening.
Yeah.
That is such a key learning.
Absolutely.
As you're a digital first brand, you also still show up in physical spaces. And I know you're really expanding these physical space activations, whether it be festivals, pop-ups, other real life moments as well. How do you approach those differently? And then how do you use the digital world that you already have? How do you use that to show up even better in the real world?
So for a brand like SHEIN, it's very important. We are an online retailer. So for us to appear in a physical space, it enables our customer to really see, touch, and feel the quality of our products, which is so critical. So kind of going back to what I was talking about in terms of our surveys, I'll give you a really good example of something that we did this spring. So we went to our customer base. We wanted to understand how they were shopping for music festival season. Because when you think of SHEIN, it's kind of synonymous with festival fashion. But we wanted to understand more about how they were shopping. So we learned that about 70% of respondents, and we had about 18,000 respondents that were going to music festival season this year. And they said they were planning their festival fits 3 to 4 weeks in advance. 40% said 2 to 3 months in advance. So it's a very calculated purchase decision. It's not an impulse buy. And then we dug in deeper to understand, and they were buying multiple outfits per day at these music festivals. And 2 to 3 outfits per day was what we were landing on. And then we dug even further to understand how much they wanted to buy for their items. And we found out that for anything apparel related, whether it be shirts or shorts, they didn't want to spend any more than $25 per item. For accessories like hats, sunglasses, they didn't want to spend more than $10 per item. So again, understanding the customer, we ended up creating a whole fully integrated marketing campaign around those insights. And we created SHEIN Festival House. And what SHEIN Festival House was a gifting suite on Melrose in Los Angeles, where we opened it up to media, influencers, VIPs, celebrities to shop their festival fits before they went to the music festivals. And then what we did was we turned that space into a 4-day retail pop-up where we had our customers come in for that VIP treatment, and they were able to shop for their festival fits for Coachella, weekend 1, weekend 2, Stagecoach. And it really got us ahead of what was happening on site at those music festivals, because we listened to our customer. We understood that the purchasing was happening in advance of festival season. And we have been in the past at these music festivals. But there's a lot of brands that activate there, right? And you're competing for a lot of attention. And we thought the best strategy this year was for us to kind of be at the forefront in the beginning stages. And that way we could see a steady drumbeat of coverage and impressions and social love and chatter come out about us throughout the whole festival season. So that's kind of how we kind of put that into play for us at SHEIN.
That is so smart. I was just at a festival.
Yes.
There were so many brands there. And
There's
so
a lot of
to
brands.
put it at the point of decision and when people are actually buying their fits is a brilliant concept.
Yes, it was a lot of fun for us.
How very cool. Let's talk about AI, which I know is somewhat polarizing. But when it comes to creating these connections and really creating experiences for customers and consumers, some consumers would prefer for a more human and authentic connection with brands. How do you find that balance between operating really efficiently and effectively, but also still delivering that authentic experience?
I think that a lot of people these days want to stop the scroll and be in person with other people. I think that's where that community aspect comes in as well. But I think from a marketing perspective, just like social media was, AI is here. And we have to figure out a way to best work with it within our teams to understand, okay, where can AI help us be more efficient? Is it in the tasks that we do on a daily basis? Is it in maybe some of the research that we do? And where can the human element layer on top of that? Because humans add context, we add experience, we add that creativity. So I think it's a even balance of where can this fit in to help us in the work that we do? How can it create more efficiencies in the work that we do? But then also, because of the scroll and because of so many things that are happening, people are craving the tangible, the analog. And I think that that's a nice even balance that we have to figure out as a brand and as a marketing function, how we kind of marry the two ideas into one, right?
Yes. I would be really curious, are there any things that have allowed you to stop the scroll or have caught your attention lately as well?
Personally?
Yes.
Again, I think it's these in-person experiences, and I do it myself, right? I'm going to conferences and I'm traveling and I'm meeting people and I'm talking to people, understanding how they're implementing AI in their workforces and their places, what's working, what's not working, because it's trial and error, right? Everything is a test and a learn. And so I think the more that you have people talking to other people, learning what is working most effectively, I think that that's really how that connection is formed.
I love that. So it's really just talking to people.
Kind of, right? It's that community in real life that helps you be effective when you're on your computer and you're working day to day. Because you have to understand that you have your own organization and how you work, but understanding how other companies are implementing it as well is going to help you be more effective in your place of business too, right?
Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about conferences lately.
Okay.
At one of them, you had said that when it comes to Gen Z, you can't market at them, you have to build with them. How does that show up in the way that you work with creators as well as your community today?
That is very important because Gen Z, they grew up with social media. They're well-versed on advertising. They speak marketing speak. So they want to make sure that you're building something together with them, not at them. And I think for us at SHEIN, the best example of that is our Campus Ambassador program. So we started our Campus Ambassador program in 2021 with one clear goal in mind. And that was to create a community-led network to help us understand and best serve the next generation of SHEIN customer. in real spaces, in real time, on campuses with real students. And so it's a lot of fun for us to engage with these students. They have a passion for fashion and a passion for SHEIN as well. And it's a lot of fun for them to have their community, whether they're doing tabling events on campus, whether they're doing networking events that they have. And kind of just to take a 30,000-foot view of how this actually works. Our Campus Ambassador program works like this. Basically, if you are with an accredited college or university, you just sign up with your email address. And if you're chosen to be one of our campus ambassadors, you receive a unique code. So each person that has a unique code can give that to family and friends to buy items on the SHEIN website, and you're able to earn commission. So since we started this program in 2021, we've given out $26 million in commissions to these campus ambassadors. And it's been fantastic for us to understand that we've learned some of these campus ambassadors have paid off their college tuition. They've paid off their parents' mortgage, and that they've earned networking experiences that they probably wouldn't have had otherwise, other than being a part of our program. So it really gives us a lot of feedback as to what's working. We can help them as they grow through the process and grow through the program. And what's really exciting for us is every summer we bring together 150 of our top campus ambassadors to a retreat and a gala, which is great because that's the in real life component. That's that community happening. They're able to work with each other, talk to each other about what's working on different college campuses, how they're able to share the work that they do, and then just come together as a community. So the first couple years we did it in Los Angeles. Last year we took it to Miami. This year we'll also be in Miami. Actually, it's happening this week, which we're really excited about. And it's a great way for us to basically be able to show our love for our campus ambassadors and have them all with each other in real life.
That is amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's so many in real life moments there between bringing them together, but also them almost supporting the brand and bringing the brand to real life on their own campuses.
Yeah. It's a great
really
program.
Cool story.
We love it.
And you've taken campus ambassadors, which isn't new, but you've added the SHEIN layer to it and added your just data collection and capabilities to it. So it's very cool to hear.
Yeah, it's a great program. We love it.
That's amazing. What do brands typically get wrong when they try to work with creators to build real community rather than just using them for promotion?
I don't know if it's necessarily them getting it wrong.
Okay.
Right. But I think that the next evolution of creator connection is kind of moving from that amplification to authorship. So in the past, and it still happens, you find a creator with reach, right? You give them a product, they talk about it, and you move on, right? And sometimes creators or celebrities don't quite match that well with the brand. It's kind of like putting a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't make any sense. So for us, it's all about alignment first. What creators best align with our brand? Who already talks about affordable fashion? What audiences of theirs likes affordable fashion and talks about affordable fashion? So that way, at the start, you're very much aligning your brand to the audience. So that is really important for us. We have a vetting process that we make sure that everybody that we work with is somebody we feel comfortable standing behind and standing with. And I think the best way of exemplifying that authorship is through our work with Normani. So Normani is a platinum recording artist. She's best known for her work with Fifth Harmony and as a solo recording artist. And she has her own collection, her own line with SHEIN. So this is a year-long partnership with multiple planned drops throughout the year. And she essentially took the chair, she pulled up to the table and was like, I want to create something together with you at SHEIN. Who I am is I believe in affordability. I believe in accessibility, inclusivity. And those weren't talking points that we gave her. That's who she embodies and is also who we are at SHEIN as well. So when we really worked on creating this together with Normani, it was very much with her in mind, and it was very much her leading the charge of how she wanted her brand to show up. And it's essentially building her a business within our own business. And that is where I think the key is moving forward for creators, is to give them a seat at the table, to make decisions, to help curate what a product is and why that product should matter. And that's where I think the distinction and the difference is, not in companies getting it wrong, but the evolution of where it can go next.
I love seeing that evolution, seeing you guys start to create that, because that is so cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Okay, let's talk about how the in real life connections and just community experiences, those are harder to measure than your traditional performance marketing.
Yeah.
How do you understand, especially for something like Summer House, how do you start to think about success metrics and how you know if something was a good campaign from an ROI perspective?
This is such an interesting topic
Yeah.
because the ROI is so very important, how you tie it to business outcomes. Because where we sit in brand marketing is top of funnel. We're awareness and consideration. But at the same time, that bottom of the funnel is super important, that direct to sales moment. So it's a yes and approach. Yes, you need brand marketing, and you also need performance marketing working cohesively together. The brand marketing side is establishing trust, establishing community, reputation. It's ensuring that your brand is healthy in the long term, that you have cultural relevance, cultural resonance. And that is harder to measure. But there are metrics and there are things that we look at to make sure that we are moving the needle in a certain way. It is distinctly different than your bottom of the funnel. You know, you hit somebody with an ad, you get that purchase, boom, you're done. This is harder to quantify. And I think as an industry, we're all working towards how best to do that, whether that be through nuance in coverage. What is working, what's not working, what's resonating, what's not resonating. Impressions, engagement. Are people engaged with our content? Are they reacting well to it? If not, how do we pivot and change to something that they will react better to? Also knowing your audiences. What audiences are on your Instagram versus on your TikTok versus on your traditional media versus somewhere else on your live stream. I think it's really understanding the customer, understanding where they're at, and then being able to translate that into a business outcome that executives and everybody else can kind of fully understand. So it's both yes and marketing, brand, and performance.
I love that. You take a comprehensive approach, which is fun to see.
Yes.
What advice would you give to a new e-com brand that is just starting to think about building community?
Understand your customer. Listen to your customer, understand who they are. And not only is it important to understand who your customer base is or who you want to be reaching out to, but once you have them and you're at a place where I think SHEIN is right now, where we have a great, strong customer base, we're now looking at who the next customer is from there. What is our white space? What is our, what I call blue ocean consumer that we need to be reaching out to? So I think from an e-commerce brand just starting out is kind of understanding your core customer and understanding the path of that core customer and where you want to move towards after that. So that is very, very important for any brand marketer, is to understand your customer, listen to them, build something together with them, not at them. I always say, I'm not the biggest fan of what I call like finger in the wind marketing, where you think you know something, it's based on intuition. Intuition is great. And I feel like intuition has worked really well in certain regards, but at other times, insights are really the key, honestly, to making something truly work. And I think both intuition and insights have to really work together for your brand to ultimately succeed.
Let's talk a little bit more about insights. And so I would just love to hear, are there any insights or things you're noticing in the real world about how brands are showing up that can show us what the future might look like?
Absolutely. I think that an in-store experience needs to be that. It needs to be an experience. And I think that we are seeing different brands that are perhaps maybe either closing down certain retail stores, but intentionally opening up others with experiences, with creating something that is very different from a retail buying perspective. It's no longer you just go in, you speak with a customer service person, you buy and you leave. They are now finding ways to engage you in the space, to spend time with them, whether that be through their experience of shopping throughout the space or giving you something upon entry or finding a moment where you can just be in this space. And whether it be you can work there or you can have a coffee there, you can eat there. I'm noticing a lot of retail brands, not a lot, but some retail brands that are creating a chef experience in their retail store. And that's enabling people to sit down and experience a brand in a different way. So I think you're going to see a lot of that happen from a retail perspective, kind of what influencers experience, but bringing that VIP experience to customers is going to be a trend that I think we're going to see a lot of moving forward.
I totally agree. There's so much in real life experience that's going to come to stores in really fun and like stay a while ways. With brands investing in that now, how should brands start to measure the impact of that? And again, consider ROI for that kind of activation.
I think it's a really important question because when you have a customer or somebody in a physical space, you want to understand what they're buying, how long they're spending with a particular part of a space where they're really engaging with something. But to your point, I feel like this is something that you guys do as well, right? In terms of getting into the physical space and understanding where the customers are. So tell me a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, that's definitely one of our favorite questions as far as what are people doing in stores and how can we start to track that, but not in a creepy way. Like, how do we actually encourage customers to share that because there's a value exchange to it and they want to share that. And so I was at a festival this weekend and we helped a brand track both check-ins as well as a spin the wheel swag activation. And so that activation point, being able to track that in comparison to the check-in and the flow of the line really was something where you gave a reward back or you gave that piece of swag back, a ticket to enter, and it allowed us to understand what was going on at the activation. And so I think that's one very easy use case and a way to show what's possible for within stores. We can start to think about what are people doing? What are they looking for? Maybe what products would they like to have either to try on right then or maybe to add their cart for later. And there's so much that we can start to track by encouraging customers to share that information and really tap in or engage in some way. And I certainly agree that you'll want to capture those data points in order to listen to customers to better understand that and then prove the ROI from those behaviors as well.
Absolutely. And you want to have something that's engaging for them too, an incentive-based situation as well when they come into the store. Like what can give them kind of entertainment too? What could be fun for them to participate in that is not only engaging for them, but helpful for the brand, right?
Yes. It comes back to your surveys, really. Like the fact that you get 20,000 responses in a weekend is because there's that continual value exchange, a continual, like, a customer wants to reply because they know you're listening and you'll react accordingly. We need to do that at scale in the real world as well.
I think we're always competing for people's time.
Yeah.
Whether
we are.
I mean, that's the thing, right? So for us, it's like people's time spent on our app. It's time spent in our retail pop-up. We want to make sure that every touch point that we have with the customer is engaging. And so I think that dovetails into what you're doing as well. And the work that you're doing is making sure that you're being able to understand the insights from the customer while still making sure that you entertain them and engage them in a way that they want to be marketed to and with.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we love what you're doing here at SHEIN. You're making it so engaging and you're making it fun for consumers to engage. And we think you're leading the pack as far as creating engaging experiences for customers.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun today.
Of course. Thanks for joining.
And thanks for listening to the Phygital Marketing Podcast. If you liked what you heard, follow the show and send it to your favorite marketer. If you want to learn more about Sotto or get in touch, visit withsotto.com. See you later, alligator.